Partial funding for this program has been provided by the Radio and TV News Endowment, a fund established by listeners and viewers to sustain reporting of Indiana news. More information at indianapublicmedia.org/support. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
It took years for a group of parents to open doors at the Indiana State House. They wanted to convince lawmakers to listen to their claims about a substance that's long been controversial. They said it could have a positive effect on their kids, such as this one. This is Jamison Mershon. From infancy, he's had a type of epilepsy called Dravet syndrome. His mother showed this video at the State House this year as part of a plea to lawmakers. She wanted the legal right to use cannabidiol, or CBD, to make his life better. CBD is an oil derived from the cannabis plant, but unlike marijuana, it's low in THC, so it can't get people high. A growing number of states allow people with specific forms of epilepsy to use CBD, despite the classification of cannabis as a Schedule I drug, a high-risk substance with high abuse potential and no medical use. In August 2017, Indiana's governor signed a bill that exempts seizure patients from Indiana's strict CBD ban. CBD proponents in Indiana took it as an acknowledgement that an estimated 20,000 Hoosiers who suffer from treatment-resistant epilepsy could benefit. For his part, the governor said it was about compassion. On this special from the WTIU newsroom, Cannabidiol, Kids, and Politics, we'll meet the families who fought to legalize CBD in Indiana. We'll look into the oil's effectiveness and safety, and we'll find out why not everyone considers the new law the last word.
But I don't mind the driving, and it's something that really he enjoys about his life. Few enjoyments, and that's the biggest ones I think he has. Now we've done it so often that he just more or less points the way he wants to go, and that's what we do. And he has, of course, several pictures of different towers and things locally that we can go and also see. And he enjoys it so much that you could spend an hour on the road and turn around and retrace everything that you saw during that hour, and he'd still enjoy it. In my mind, just the fact that it seems to lessen the amount of seizures that he has makes, to me, the biggest difference. Because whether it be an adult or a child, especially your grandchild, to see them in the state of a seizure is difficult, you know, and so the less he has to go through that, the better.
So Noah was born perfectly healthy baby boy, 9 pounds, 1 ounce, big boy, 10 out of 10 on his APGAR score as soon as he was born, and no signs of anything. But that's how this disease and disorder sort of presents itself to it. It doesn't present immediately. So we went on, and he still was growing. He was developing normally, hit all of his developmental milestones. All of those, you know, boxes could be checked. And then all of a sudden, when he was 6 months old, he had his first seizure. So Dravet syndrome is a neurological seizure disorder. It's very rare. Some people have the genetic mutation with it and some don't. And they consider it to be a de novo mutation, where it doesn't mean that the parents are a carrier. It just sometimes shows up. And so for our instance, that's how it was with Noah. You're on a medicine that's supposed to help, and yet that one not only, you know, didn't help, but it actually made him have more seizures and different types of seizures. So then you're dealing with, once those seizures come more frequently and you have the different types, then you have them wanting to add in a different medicine because they want to help with those. And then they're on so much medicine that they're just, I mean, literally intoxicated from the medicine. And that's where he was. You know, at the age that he should have been learning how to walk, he was running into tables. This was a little boy who every day had to lay in bed, and that's how he spent his days, because any activity would cause him to be overexerted. So either one of my parents or my husband or I, one of us would sit in bed with him the entire day, and he could have one activity at a time, whether it be a book or a show. Any more than that, he'd be overexerted and would go into one. and you keep thinking there has to be another option, there has to be something else. And we were fortunate enough to meet an individual who was going to do some research on CBD. And it was, I don't believe in random things, but it was very happen chance how we happened to meet him. And he was actually a chiropractor who worked on my uncle's back. And my uncle had brought up, I know this chiropractor of mine is wanting to research CBD, but can't really do much with it here in this state and is looking to possibly move to a different state to do it. So we got in contact with him, and he told us, once he heard Noah's story, he said, Noah's going to be my reason for doing it. I'm going to pursue it, and I'm going to do it for Noah.
I mean, here's a kid who looks pretty normal. He's got a genetic related syndrome called Dravet syndrome that the child, he doesn't develop normally intellectually, and he's got seizures ranging from 50 to a couple hundred seizures a day. And for the parents, every day, those kids, they literally, legitimately could die. Their blood oxygen goes down to 2/3 of what normal is.
Even though there had been no federal decriminalization of medical cannabis, California was one place where the state law had become more lax.
So I went there and registered with the police and gave them chromatographs and all the things we were doing. I didn't know how to grow anything in the desert. But by doing that, the plants mutated, and we ended up with these strains that were incredibly high in CBD and high in what's called terpenes and flavonoids and all these associate synergistic chemistries that made a really effective CBD as a food ingredient. So we started giving it to Noah.
And besides my husband and I, the only other people that knew were our parents. And we just kept it very hush-hush, but we immediately saw positive changes. And we thought maybe it was a fluke. We went about a week, I believe about a week without trouble. And then I think he had one. And so there was a part of me that was a little down because I thought, oh, maybe we just had a few good days. But then all of a sudden we went like 2 weeks without one. And I couldn't remember how long it had been since we had gone 2 weeks. There was one time in particular that we were at a doctor's appointment, and they have a long hallway there in the office where kids run. But Noah never had run because he just didn't have a good gait to run, and so I never would allow him to. And I let go of Noah's hand, and he took off running down that hall, and he ran smoothly, giggling, came back, and then he ran down again. And the doctor looked at him, and then looked at him again, and then just looked at me and said, "He's really doing great, isn't he?" And I said, "Yeah, he is." But I still at that point thought it was better not to say anything. But I'm certainly sure that the doctor realized the changes and was trying to determine what those changes were from.
The Barretts weren't telling people Noah was on CBD, but they were carefully detailing his changes in a journal. The fear was, what if Noah had a seizure and had to go to the ER? CBD oil contains trace amounts of THC, and if doctors drew Noah's blood and found THC in his system, they'd have to call Child Services. The reality was the Barretts could lose their son if they were caught.
Jameson took it for about 6 months. While he was on it, we had no seizures for 6 months. He actually spoke when he was on the CBD oil. He said 3 words, and that's the first and only time that I've heard him say mama. So the CBD oil did show vast improvements in a lot of areas for him. We had gone to the doctor, and the doctor had asked us how he was doing, and he listened to all my reports of his attention span being better and his coordination and his dexterity and all that, and his 6 months without a seizure. And he knew immediately that Jameson should not be doing that well on the medicines that he was taking. He explained to me that he wasn't necessarily against us using it, but if he was to go to the emergency room and they were to test him and he tested positive for even a trace amount of THC in his system, that they would be required by law to call Child Protective Services.
Jameson went back on his pharmaceutical medications.
We give our child drugs every day to keep him seizure-free, to keep him alive, yet in the long run, these drugs are killing him. It causes liver failure, causes kidney problems. These are some pretty heavy drugs for such a little guy.
And Jameson's seizures are uncontrolled. That's not uncommon. Data shows current pharmaceutical drugs only work for about 1/3 of all seizure patients. During the day, Jameson stands at the window and watches the reflection of a cell phone screen on the pane glass. Like any little kid, he loves being outside, but the conditions have to be just right. If it's too hot, he'll have a seizure. If it's too cold, he'll have a seizure.
You know, we live in Indiana, so our spring and fall are about 2 days apiece, you know. So he gets very little time to be outside and play. Sometimes he gets outside and he's so excited that he's outside that drives him into a seizure.
Jameson has a list of triggers a mile long: fatigue, flashing lights, patterns, overstimulation, understimulation.
Every time we think we've got something figured out with him, every time we think, okay, we're here, he hasn't had seizures for a while, we're doing really well, then boom, something happens and there's a new trigger, or or there's or he outsmarts us, don't you? Can I have kisses? Hey. Thank you. Thank you.
That makes everyday activities like going to the grocery store not just complicated, but risky for Jameson.
You know, we just really have to adapt everything to him and his needs.
It's hard on Mariah, her husband, and their 2 girls, but CBD gave them a glimpse of what life could be like for Jameson and their family.
And I don't think that his medical care should be dictated by what his zip code is. I mean, if it's something that's being used in another state and it's shown effective and it's you know, not harming anyone, then why should his zip code make it so he can't have the same quality of life that someone in Colorado has? So instead of just packing up and moving, let's make it better here. I have a big mouth and I was not going to be shut up over this.
I've made this statement since I've been here. You know, what's wine without the alcohol? It's just grapes.
Change in Indiana would have to come through legislation. A group, including Mariah and Brandy, pulled together and met at the State House in 2014.
Noah and Jameson can't go to the zoo or to the beach because things as simple as heat, too little sleep, or too much stimulation can cause a seizure.
We found it so interesting when we got down there. You know, we had researched it enough to know the difference, but we got down there to the State House where for them, they heard the word hemp and it was, oh, you know, this is marijuana. No, this state does not do anything regarding marijuana. The first bill that we actually went down there for was just to explain what industrial hemp was. We got a lot of legislators on board and we actually got that legislation through that year, so places like Purdue could get permits to start researching and growing.
Some lawmakers and attorneys say the 2014 bill also legalized CBD because it removed industrial hemp products from the state's controlled substance list. Nevertheless, the Barretts wanted to avoid any gray areas or issues with misinterpretation. So the next year, they went back to the legislature and began asking specifically for CBD oil. The bill sailed through the House with no opposition, but then the state's Prosecutors Association came out in force against CBD oil. They compared it to legalizing medical marijuana.
Recent anecdotal reports of the positive effects of cannabidiol derived from cannabis or hemp plants on children has generated sympathy for the legalization of cannabis, but little in the way of scientific proof by the proponents of legalization. The public push to legalize marijuana extracts for unregulated use is getting ahead of the science and could jeopardize significant research into promising treatments.
The bill died. When the legislature reconvened in 2016, a lawmaker again sponsored a bill to legalize CBD for kids suffering from intractable epilepsy. A growing number of states were getting on board, and the National Epilepsy Foundation issued a plea for CBD to be made available to all seizure patients across the U.S.
When it reached the Senate and that committee chairperson, well, this was the second year that she had seen the bill. When it reached her again, and we thought, oh, here we go again, surely she can't not hold a vote. Surely she can't kill the bill 2 years in a row. And she said, if I hear from a neurologist in favor of it, then I will hold a vote. And we knew that all we needed was for them to hold a vote. And we know the phone call took place. We obviously don't know what was said, but she then decided she still would not hold a vote afterwards.
Brandy's frustration was mounting, and finally, this year, she joined the families testifying publicly at the State House in support of CBD.
This had been killed 2 years in a row. If it gets killed again, I'm not sure we're going to have another chance. We have to get something through.
His independence is limited because of the assistance he needs and because of safety issues. Opportunities and experiences for Noah are very limited because of this as well.
The timing was right. There was a change of leadership in the Senate, and the committee chairperson was willing to have a hearing on the bill.
That was a breath of fresh air. We knew we had a green light this time, so it was, and I can tell you the letters and phone calls that came in when people found out we finally got a hearing on this, and some even, when he was on the phone, started crying. They were so happy.
Is that funny?
And many of the legislators were very kind and supportive that I did speak out. And I knew then that I was okay. I knew that it was okay that I had made that decision to speak out and to share that information, because it was going to be helpful to those legislators who maybe were wavering or who maybe were thinking that the prosecutors were right.
One of the things that came up this year and last year was there was fear from some prosecutors in the state that felt this was going to lead to more drug addictions, or could open the door for more illegal activity. And the thing we kept having to bring back to focus was that this component, this hemp plant, does not offer an addictive item with it. I remember one person said that you could smoke 700 acres of hemp, and about all you'd get is, red eyes, because it just didn't have that nature that marijuana had.
Marijuana has two major neuroactive substances. One is the THC, and one is this cannabidiol, which is CBD.
This diagram shows the chemical structure of THC and the chemical structure of CBD. Christina Gerber used this at the State House to try and show lawmakers the difference.
They're different chemical structures. They're not alike in the least.
Gerber is a pharmacist, and she's also a mom to 5-year-old Etta and Etta's 9-year-old brother, Wyatt. Wyatt was diagnosed with a form of epilepsy called absence seizures 2 years ago.
From having, he went from having 50 seizures a day, and we've got him down to where he's having about 5 seizures a day. But this could be that extra push that kind of pushes him over the edge to where he can be seizure-free, happy, healthy, functioning adult that can go on and do great things. With many disease states, it's you have your first line, your second line, and your last hope medication. So we X'd out the first line. And now we were just going down the list, and it was just really disheartening because he wasn't getting better, he was getting worse. And I knew what was coming next. I knew it was Depakote, and I really wanted to try to avoid it because of the side effect profile. It can cause some severe cognitive dysfunction. Well, my emotional thing as a mother was, we've taken all the stuff away from him, but he's still smart. So I was worried about that. It can cause morbid obesity and all of the metabolic effects that come into play with that. It can shut your liver down.
By comparison, patients using CBD oil report few side effects. The most common thing is tiredness, and some people experience diarrhea.
And so there was just all of these things to consider, and we just wanted to find out more information before we started him on that. And we didn't feel like anyone was really giving us the information we needed, or just, I guess, the respect.
Because CBD oil was illegal, neurologists were reluctant to even discuss it as a treatment option. We contacted more than a dozen neurologists for this story, but no one agreed to an interview.
In articles you've given us, isn't it true that there's not a single peer-reviewed article on the planet regarding CBD oil?
Oh, no, that's not true at all. A lot of these articles were published in the Lancet, I think. Let me pull them out here, okay, because I can tell you.
Well, you're disagreeing with my statement. You're saying there are peer-reviewed articles.
There are yes.
On CBD oil in particular.
Correct.
But there was a person down at the State House that said, not ever, not on my watch. that person actually flipped their opinion from not on my watch to, yeah, I'm gonna vote emphatically yes on this thing.
The CBD bill passed through both chambers, and Governor Eric Holcomb signed it into law in April.
And I think folks finally recognize that there is potential for this to be an effective product. And it took 3 years, but that's better than taking 4.
Indiana joined 37 other states that now have some sort of medical cannabis or CBD legislation on the books.
Well, the new law, if it's followed, is pretty clear. That's why we didn't oppose it. You first of all have to be diagnosed by a neurologist, a board-certified neurologist, with irretractable epilepsy or a seizure-type disorder. If you are, then they can write a letter, and you can get on a registry in Indiana, which would allow you to purchase a CBD product.
The State Department of Health oversees the registry. To be able to participate, a patient must have tried at least 2 other epilepsy treatments that failed. People who are on the registry are allowed to have CBD oil, and they don't have to worry about getting prosecuted for it. The law stipulates that the CBD cannot contain any more than 0.3% THC.
I got an email from one of my fellow moms, and she told me that the registry was up, and so we filled out the registry information, got it all sent off. About 3 weeks later, we got the word that the cards were in the mail, so we immediately started Jameson 6 weeks ago on the CBD oil.
And in that 6 weeks, Jameson has had no seizures. Every morning now, Jameson wakes up with his sisters, gets ready for school, and waits for the bus. Mariah watches his progress and calls it nothing short of amazing.
He has increased his coordination and his attention span. His personality is coming out quite a bit. The teachers have commented on him having much more personality. And he seems to be doing really well.
Jameson gets about 5 drops of CBD oil twice a day. Mariah buys it online from a dietary supplement company. The law didn't legalize the sale of CBD in Indiana, even for seizure patients on the registry. The bottle costs about $250, and because it's a supplement, insurance does not cover the cost. You might be able to find CBD for less, but you don't know what's in it. Reputable companies can provide lab results for each batch they make, but commonly producers don't replicate their blends, which means in most cases no 2 batches are the same. And the FDA does not regulate CBD oil, so anything can be sold under that label, even snake oil, masquerading as CBD oil. That's one of the issues that makes CBD hard for researchers to study. Results from one of the first double-blind clinical trials were recently published, and in many cases, kids just like Jameson improved.
It was shown, I think it was 3 months of cannabidiol versus placebo showed a statistically significant decrease in seizures, I think roughly 40% in the CBD-treated group.
And fewer than 20% of kids in the placebo-treated group showed any change. Those findings are exciting for scientists like Dr. Mackey because statistically, the difference is significant and shows the seizure reduction is not happening by chance. But CBD is not a magical cure. It's not the best treatment for everyone suffering from epilepsy. The Gerbers' quest to learn more about CBD for their son led them to New York. A neurologist there is on the forefront of CBD research. His recommendation for Wyatt wasn't CBD oil, at least at this time. Instead, he prescribed a couple of pharmaceuticals and a strict ketogenic diet. Wyatt hasn't had a seizure in 6 months.
We got lucky in the process of starting to fight for it and starting to go through this gathering research and going down to the state house and stuff. He became seizure free, but it's not like you drop out at that point just because why not have another tool in your toolbox, especially something that's so safe and is so effective to be able to add into your regimen to help, stop the seizures.
But there's still the big question about CBD's long-term effects. There's no data. It's just too new.
Once there's 10, 20,000 patients have been treated with this, it's easy to go through and see, well, yeah, there's this kind of thing we didn't really expect to see is showing up at a certain incidence, and we should be careful about that.
Even though we don't have long-term studies with CBD oil, we do know what happens long term if you let seizures go untreated. So yeah, we may not know what happens if you take CBD oil for 50 years, but we do know what happens if you let your seizures go untreated. And I think that there's a definite risk benefit. The benefit of using the CBD oil absolutely 100% outweighs the risk.
It's been over 3 years now since Noah first started on CBD. He averages maybe a seizure a month. Compare that to the 50 plus he used to have in a day. And Brandy says he doesn't experience any side effects from the oil.
We still see improvement every single day. And for us, that was certainly, our first goal. But to now see that this has become, like you said, a movement basically for all these individuals is remarkable. And I tell Noah all the time, I explain to him how, buddy, you're a big deal. You're part of something really big that's going to help lots of people. Noah's story is making a difference, not only for Noah, but for so many others. And who knows, what it's going to, entail down the road, for him. But I certainly see a lot more opportunities for him to be able to, go to school, do normal kid activities, be involved more in extra activities, and family time, just, normal family activities. And, as we can continue to see progression with him too, I think, I won't count anything out for him.
Partial funding for this program has been provided by the Radio and TV News Endowment, a fund established by listeners and viewers to sustain reporting of Indiana news. More information at indianapublicmedia.org/support. And by WTIU members. Thank you.